Hey everyone, it's Spencer from Heavy Consequence at Consequence of Sound. I'm here at the Kaneko Cat Cafe in New York City. I'm here with Frank and Dean from Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. I saw you a few years ago at Rock on the Range.
Cool.
And you really kind of stole the show there. It was like everyone was talking about that set.
Amazing.
You won over this, huge crowd that I'm assuming a lot of them didn't even know who you were. And then a few weeks or a few months later, you kind of shut it down, released a statement that kind of a mental health break, and you're at the height of the last album. And can you take us from maybe just supporting that last album, playing these massive festivals, getting like a real buzz in the States, and then just kind of suddenly putting a halt to it? Can you kind of?
I mean, it was life and death. It's as simple as that. I didn't really have an option. Do you know what I mean? Like, without me, the band can't exist. Without any member of our band, it would be hard for us to keep going forwards. And so it wasn't really the idea of like creating a buzz and like worrying about it stopping. It doesn't really matter to me, because if I'm not around to do that at any point in the future, it's redundant. So I was going through a lot of stuff. I was experiencing a lot of things. I experienced a lot of things on that tour even, and so for me it was a case of just try and be kind to myself, in a way that the music industry doesn't always allow. There's a lot of pressure in the music industry, a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility when you're an artist. There's a lot of people that make a living off of us playing, And so I had all of them, and they're like well-being in my mind as well, So, but I'm lucky. I've got good friends. I've got good management, and they sort of saw what was happening, and they stepped in and just asked, like, how do you think you're gonna feel when you do this? It's 8 weeks. It's a long time to be away. And I was able to say, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Like, in fact, I don't think I'll feel particularly well, So we needed to take the break, and honestly, it was the best thing for our band at the time. So probably not the best thing for America, but at the end of the day, like, I can't put a country ahead of like my well-being forever. So
I think like we all kind of came into this having had previous experience in music and stuff, and I think for me especially, like in my first band, it felt like that was the world, and then that ends, and then you realise, okay, I've got an actual life to live as well. And I think for me, the moment it gets to the point where it's affecting anyone's mental health, it's not like, that's not why we should do this. It should be fun. It should be something we enjoy. So yeah, it's always just a no-brainer for me. And when we talk a lot about the kind of like, if Frank broke his leg, we would be like, we can't tour because we can't. Yeah, and it's like, I see mental health and physical health as the same thing. And if you're not in the right place to do something, you should just press pause. And it was paused because we're back here now.
Yeah. Great. And let's talk about the new album, End of Suffering. You called this your most honest album to date. Can you talk about what you mean by that and how the title of the album reflects that?
I mean, the title is basically the Buddhist translation for the word enlightenment, So when you take that word and the meaning behind it, and you realize that, they translate it as the end of suffering, which itself in a phrase is just full of such finality. I thought there was a real like beautiful juxtaposition and a hope in it, a hope in that phrase, and that's kind of what the album's about. It's like we wanted something that was full of hope, but on first listen could feel like there was an enormous amount of finality in it. So we just took it and we ran with that, and it made kind of perfect sense to us, didn't it? So.
Your music has been rooted in punk and hardcore throughout your career, but on this album, there's a lot of different sounds. There's some 80s new wave, there's some soul in there, there's some straight ahead rock.
Yeah.
Can you talk about kind of branching out musically, the evolution of the band sonically?
It was natural, wasn't it? Supernatural, because we've, I think what people have seen of us and our musical history is punk and hardcore, But I grew up listening to Madness and Bjork and classical music and, and Sam Cooke and just everything. I grew up listening to a lot of soul music. So for me, it was never really a case of, now we're getting to branch out. It's just, we're in a position now where we worry less about the judgment, about the scrutiny, of people. But for us, it was just we found some confidence in ourselves, you know, that wasn't there in the beginning. And you know, maybe at the beginning we felt confident enough to like just really flex on hardcore and punk as like that's what we knew or what we felt we knew best. Reality is like we know good music, and so with this there was just a confidence between us to kind of explore, and we wanted to have fun with it. Like life should be about adventure, and that's kind of what we did with this record. Just have like a big adventure, and then when you get to play it live, that's when you really can start sort of feeling it all come together.
Yeah, I think I realised kind of afterwards that I think we on this album we're trying to explore the same things on Modern Ruin, but just we're getting kind of like more confident and better as songwriters, and it was just easier to achieve those sounds. So it wasn't really like as much as there is a sort of sonic change. It was more just that we are getting closer to realizing the sounds we're trying to do, rather than like have the moment where we decided to start. Like, we've always tried to explore, but I think the thing that I'm proud of is we just got a lot closer to that on this record than we had in the past. So that energy to try and kind of challenge ourselves has always been there. But third time round, like each time we know each other better and we know songwriting better, it just gets a bit more natural, comes out easier.
Cool. And let's talk about some of those songs. Recent single, Anxiety. Maybe the most direct song in terms of lyrics. You know, not really too many metaphors. You're kind of laying it out there, almost an anthem for people suffering from anxiety. Can you talk about that one a bit?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly you kind of did it. It's supposed to be an anthem for change, you know, for people to sort of take those feelings and really take ownership of them and just say like out loud, like I am not okay and I have a good life. You know, I'm aware that I'm lucky. I'm aware that I've got so much more than most other people, but I can't understand why. You know, that's not bringing me happiness and joy and stuff. It's because the failure is inside you, you know, and the only way that gets better is if we start talking about it. So that's what we're trying to do with that song, is just create like you said, a very direct, out in the open approach to so that people can see that we're brave enough to make that jump, and we hope that everybody else is at some point too. You know?
All right, so we're at the Cat Cafe in the Lower East Side of New York, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the song Kitty Sucker.
Yeah.
Can you please talk about that one? I know this cat really wants to know about that.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's about like the sort of complexities of passionate modern love, you know, and how you know, relationships can come from sort of all different angles, and you know, ultimately, like, you know, when I talk about it on stage, I'm a lot more crass because because it's funny to me. But you know, really, when you get into it, like, it's about just when you find that person who you want to just drown yourself in them. You know, you just want to be in their space, in their atmosphere. You want to know about them all the time, and so that's what it's about. It's about how you when you're not with them, you just feel like you're falling apart. So it's about like those really exciting energies you have when you first start a relationship, and everything's good and it's the honeymoon period. That's what it's all about.
The album ends with the title track, and as a father of a 4-year-old daughter myself, I really related to this one.
Yeah.
Kind of song suggesting that, you know, your child's happiness outweighs everything else in this world. Can you
Absolutely.
talk about that song?
Yeah, that's it. Like, you know, wrote that song for myself, but also for all the people that I know who travel, you know, in the music industry, or have jobs that take them away from their children or their loved ones, their families. It was just I think we carry a lot of guilt in ourselves about that. You know, we have to work, we have, you know, we've got careers that we love and we want to nurture. Naturally, they take us away from the people that are most important to us, and I think that song was all about my nerves, you know, my worries that maybe I was, you know, the times where my sort of anxiety and my self-loathing really got the better of me. It would tell me that I was a bad dad. Do you know what I mean? The fact of the matter is, there's only one person in the world that can tell me if I'm a good dad or not, and my daughter does constantly. She tells me I'm a great dad. So I don't think I've got anything to worry about at the minute. Like, she's very happy, and yeah, we have just a really beautiful, like, close bond.